If you approach it like we've tried to approach it, that your next game is the biggest game you're going to play all year because it's your next game, then you're doing things the right way. But truly, if you look at tomorrow's game, if you look at our game with New Mexico on Saturday, it's a huge game for both teams. We are 2 games ahead with an opportunity to pull 3 ahead of the pack, or New Mexico can make it a dead heat when they come in here. And that will be obviously their intent. They're very good. If you look at statistics from the Mountain West Conference games, you say, and if you look at stats and say, tell me who's on top, you would say New Mexico. They have scored more points than anybody. They have the greatest margin of difference between scores in their games. They have the highest spread. Their field goal percentage is the highest. Their free throw percentage is the highest. They're second to us in field goal defense. So this is a really good team. This is a team that is coming off of a subpar year for New Mexico. And they didn't like it and don't like it. And they've talked about it. And they're much, much, much improved. They are led by their guards. But Tim Williams in the post, a transfer from Samford, has been terrific for them. So this is a good team. We know that. Coach Neal's son is a really good player and is a clutch player. Brown, son of a coach, is a really, really good player, can score in a lot of ways. And then they have the 7'1" center. So we're meeting a team that is legitimate. They would like to go back and replay Rice at home through the Diamond Head. If they could replay that stretch, they probably could say we're a top 25 team. And they lost 4 games in a row. So we're excited. Our kids are excited. I'm sure they are. It should be a really good game. We will have a very good crowd that will be indicative of the importance of the game. Anything for me?
Coach, you mentioned Elijah Brown. Do you expect Trey to guard him tomorrow?
Do I think what?
Do you expect Trey to guard him at least at the beginning of the game?
I hope he does. We've had a lot of different people guard good players on the other team, like Josh Adams for Wyoming. But Trey will be one of the guys. Dakari will guard him some. Jeremy could guard him some. We may go big and put Zylan on him a little bit. Who knows? But Trey will guard him some.
I mean, offensively, Trey's numbers have been much improved in the conference, but can you speak to his perimeter defense and how he's improved in that conference as well?
He's become very reliable defensively. He had more deflections in our game at Vegas than I think anyone has had in the last 4 or 5 years. By being alert, using his length, playing smart. So he's gotten better. He has gotten better. He's taken great pride in not just scoring points, but being a basketball player, which is what we hope all of them will. So I would say yes, he's taken big strides defensively.
Have you put any emphasis on the fact that this game historically can have impacts on the program, or is that something that you kind of just let the players speak to amongst themselves?
On the fact that
it would be at 11-0 and it'd be the best start in conference history.
No, we've talked about being 10-0 and wanting to be 11-0, and the importance of preparing as hard as you can for this game. We'll be excited. You can't be too excited. You will be on edge. You can't be so much so that you do things too fast. Our players know the significance of this game, and they know the really wonderful games that New Mexico and San Diego State have had with one another over the past years.
Did you get to know Elijah Brown at all during his recruitment after he left Butler?
What is it?
Did you get to know Elijah Brown at all in that period when he was leaving Butler and he was recruitable before he went to New Mexico?
Yes, we knew Elijah Brown when he was at Mater Dei High School. He went to Butler, and when he left Butler, we tried to recruit him. We had no scholarships. And whether we would have gotten him had we had a scholarship, I don't know. But I talked with he and his dad, so yeah, we tried to recruit him. He's good.
What has he added to their team?
What has he added to New Mexico's team? Well, the tangibles, the obvious are scoring the ball. He's their leading scorer, averaging over 20 a game. He's shooting a fantastic percentage for the number of shots that he takes. He never misses a free throw. But maybe as much as anything, he's added a swagger that was there. I think Neil has it, but he's added that to the whole group, and I think it's spread through the group. He thinks nobody in America is better than him, and that's how he plays, and that rubs off, especially when you back it up with statistics and performance. So I would say that would be one that jumps out at you as you watch them on TV or watch tapes of their games.
Are they different than they have been in past years, the way they play?
I don't know how different. Maybe the difference is they try to make you think, what are we doing to you defensively, more so than they have in the past. They switch and switch and switch again what they're doing defensively. They might be 2-3, they might be 3-2, they might be man-to-man, they might be 1-3-1, and they might do all of those within 5 possessions. So they keep you guessing as to what they're going to do defensively. They've always been a team that scores the ball. They're good teams. They've always been able to score the ball. And they can score it inside and out with their guards and then Williams inside. So I think there are a lot of similarities to their good teams in the past in terms of what they try to do.
Are you still of the mind that the regular season champion in the Mountain West will be eligible for an at-large berth or would qualify for an at-large berth in the NCAA tournament? Or do you think there's a qualifier on that the regular season champion, if they have 1 or 2 losses, would have a shot?
I'm not sure on that in terms of whether an 8-team game champion, a winner of an 8-team game conference schedule from a good league. Now, maybe those who are in the selection room would argue, or others would argue, well, how good is it? It's a very good league. And we've beaten some good people in our league. So I would say there is an opportunity for the conference champion to get an at-large bid. Probably more of an opportunity if there's separation at the top. If it's tied, 2 teams, if it's 1 game, then that might be a little more dicey. But so I don't know. I think a lot of leagues are saying, well, who might get in? It all depends. It all depends on what happens these last, for us, 8 games. For New Mexico, 9 games. As we move forward with the conference champions.
Do you at all at this point of the season start having one eye on that, in the sense that, boy, if we lose this team, the RPI is going to plummet because they're 1 whatever, or you just try to win the league and hope for the best?
I really have not started to look and say who do the prognosticators say are locks, and who do they say have work to be done, and who do they say on the bubble, and who do they say got no chance. I've not really looked at that. I'm well aware that if you win, you'll have opportunities, and if you don't, it makes it a lot harder. And that's where we are. I mean, we need to win. If we keep winning, everything takes care of itself. If we don't, then we'll see what happens.
Coach, against Colorado State, Malik got some late minutes in that game. Was that a matchup or thing, or is that such a sign that maybe Malik's getting a little more trusted in those kind of situations?
I said after the Colorado State game, Malik was playing at the end and played the last 12 to 15 minutes because he's playing well. And I'm going to try to do that. If you play well, you'll have a better chance to be playing down the stretch. And he played well in that game. I think everybody knows that, which is why he played. He played well not just at the offensive end. He made a huge basket for us when we were down 3, shot clock running down, where he swept, drove under control, made a driving layup. But he also did a good job moving his feet, keeping guys smaller than him in front of him, blocked a shot at the end of a shot clock. So he did some good things for us.
When you look at Mexico, you referenced that, you know, they'd like to have a replay of those 4 games, and they also had a 2-game stretch where they didn't play well at UNLV and then lost at home to Wyoming. Do you see anything that happened, or do you just think this is a very, very good team that happened to have a bad week, a couple of bad weeks?
You know, I don't know for sure on that. I mean, going to Vegas and losing the first game of a new coach, that people thought they were going to lose that game when they went there. I think there were issues where coming back against Wyoming, Elijah Brown didn't start for whatever reason, so that might have factored into that. And again, you know, I don't know their team, but I know they had a big lead against Rice that they lost, and that might have affected them in the first game at the Diamond Head. And sometimes you know, you can start, you know, saying, well, what if, and all of a sudden you've lost 2 in a row or 3 in a row or 4 in a row, and nobody wants that, but it can happen to anybody.
Coach, what do you make of the progression of Matt Strigley so far, just a couple games into his debut so far?
I'm sorry?
What do you make of Matt Strigley's progression so far in a couple games into the season? I know coming off ACL.
Whose progression?
Matt Strigley.
Matt's getting his sea legs about him. I hope the crowd erupts when he makes a 3 on the game against New Mexico. And hopefully that will get him another one. So Matt has worked so hard. I want it for all of us, including myself in the program, but I want it most for Matt because he has been diligent, hasn't missed a beat on anything that was asked of him, and then he's done the extra stuff. And he needs time. I mean, it's a process. You don't roll out of bed after ACL surgery and all of a sudden you're the same player you were before. It takes time. And he's getting better in practice, which makes me think that his moment will come, hopefully tomorrow.